I want to say, just to begin here, I want to say thank you to Dennis for loaning me the set, and Yanyin for loaning the set out to the Canucks Audioholics group for the share. Greatly appreciated. We got a chance to listen to this IM and share our impressions about what we thought of this one. We definitely wanted to get ears on, and so much talk about this IM, and it's we'll talk about it, and is it worthy? And let's go. Okay, hello. There. So I can get my face. Anyway, hi. Yanyin CANON 2. I adored the first one. I really did, and I thought some of the things about the original that I loved was the bass and the bass texture, this biocellulose driver. Now, CANON 2, same kind of config. One dynamic driver, 4 balanced armatures, 3rd generation bio diaphragm dynamic driver, 2 mids for the Bs, 2 BAs for the mids. What the hell did I just say? 2 BAs for the highs. Impedance 27 to 40 ohms, depends on the switches. 112 dB sensitivity, fairly easy to drive. 2 tuning switches. Yeah, we'll talk about that. And they affect just the bass a little, and I'll pull up a graph a little bit later. I think, like the original, though, I'll start off with this video saying that the CANON 2 has much special sauce like the OG did. Maybe a little bit less. Now, let's talk about the sound of this bad boy. Right into it. Let's jump. Okay, tuning switches. Sorry. Rewind. Tuning switches, I both put them up. It makes such a little bit of a difference that I just basically liked, unlike the original where there could have been too much, and I left it kind of on, I think, 010. Can't remember exactly, but it wasn't the full bass. I like this setting with both switches up, maximum bass. It's not really that much of a giant jump. In fact, it really went from both switches down to both switches up, maybe 3 dB. So not massive, but I put it in the up position, up. So later on in this video, I also said I would promise to put it up against the Pula that I really liked, the PA02. Now the two are very similarly tuned on paper. There is more mid bass, like about 2 dB more at about 100 hertz to about 200 hertz in the CANON 2, and where the two differentiated themselves was a little bit more treble in the CANON, and where the Pula had more air and extension over into the 10 to 12K area. So how did these two sound against each other? So closer than you would think. So let's talk about the CANON 02 for a second. First, I think the bass. So, you know what? I'm going to read my notes like this so my camera doesn't freak out. Anyway, okay, so the bass. I think that biocellulose drivers. So my two favorite kind of dynamic drivers are beryllium coated and this kind of biocellulose driver. I think they have a very naturalness to them, and they have they can go deep, but they're organic. I wrote that, actually. I didn't know I did, but there you go. So and a depth to it. They're musical, they're impactful, and it's definitely one of my favorite bass presentations, including this one for its overall bass presentation. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Really solid, for sure. The mids also very, very well done. Mids are balanced in the mix, and for me, kind of hit that perfect neutrality for coloration. They're not warm, they're not thin. The male and female vocals are both great, so it's not one stand out over the other or something that you'd have to choose. They were both very, very well done. The highs on this set, well, not massively out there for extension and air, and it had enough sparklies and twinklies to make me happy, where I didn't feel I was missing anything. The highs are very tastefully done, really. It had enough for most genres that I listened to. They were clean, they were detailed, stays in control up until you start dialing it up. And that's where it started to get edgy for me at high volumes. It got right to the edge, but not over the edge. So it was right there. A couple of songs on busy rock, I would start reaching for the volume control to dial it back down, though, a bit. And that's where the Pula and this one differentiated itself from each other. Stage was nice. It was wide open. It was good layering. Depth was okay. And it had better than average width. So, not massively stand out, but not terrible. I give it a 7 out of 10 for that one as well. 7.5 for technicalities and details. For a mid-tier, and that's why I think it's a 7.5, is yes, there is IAMs that way outperform it for technical details, but you got to take into account it's a 1+4, and it's sub $400, right? It's $379 for this one. And again, I'm giving it a 7.5 for micro details are also very good. And this is one of the things I picked up on the Canon too, where two things. You could play this set very nicely and have a great listening session even at low volumes. It was linear, so I mean you had bass and you still had highs. When I was listening to the hypes, the The Audio Hype 10 and the Monarch Mark III, that's one thing I noticed about picked up on those two sets is at low volumes it was not. But on this set, on low volumes, it's fantastic. It's a great listening set like that. And these scores are really, remember, they're very analytical scores. They are judging this thing on its merits. And we'll get more into that because I think it has good praise for this one for sure. But the micro details are also very good. So when you're even at medium volumes or lower volumes, the amount of excitement in a song that the Canon 2 could bring forth was very impressive. It would in a passage, and if it was like classical, even vocals, where it would add emotion to the actual track. From scaling up and down in volume within the passage, within the entire song, and overall, it was quite nice, and it was better than average. So, yeah, it really could bring out the recording personality of the songs and what the artist and the engineer was, I think, trying to bring across in the recording. Again, I said it was a nice set for low volume. Sounds great. On a warmer source, we'll talk about that as well. I liked it. Shanling M8 for me. I have two of the AKMs, and I really liked it on that as well. So, again, you can tune IMs to what your preference really, and it does well. I mean, if you had it on a very clean resolving source, it would probably bring out more of those details, but I don't know if I wanted more. I just liked it the way it was on a warm source. It worked really well for me. Couple of the I'm like a nervous schoolboy doing my first speech here. going to slow it down. The C2 can belt out the music in a way with good micro details, and this came across in songs like Good Times from In Excess. It could really bring out the excitement without pushing it too far from safe. Because there's that happy medium of getting too detailed out there where your brain keeps getting pulled away from just enjoying the music if there's too much excitement going on in your little brain, or at least my little brain. And then I threw on some other stuff on this one too, the Hurricane by Kanye West. And I think I can still call him Kanye West, not Ye, because when this was recorded, he was that name, like the artist formerly known as Kanye West. I still remember when Prince did that, and I was like, what? So he's not Prince? He's the artist formerly known as Prince? Then what is he actually called? Princess? Enough. I'm going to get myself in trouble here. Bass plays with authority. No complaints. And the thing is, with that bass-y track, even, it would still manage to, the C2 would keep vocals clear and clean. So that was a good test. Let's go to some Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms. Again, found nice cymbal strikes, great highs. Now here's kind of where... now this song is a bit like that too, where there's some bass bleed in the actual recording itself, making vocals a tad thick, and on some IMs they can push through that and bring the clarity. The C2 made it a little bit thick. And this is where I was doing a comparison with the Pula PAO2, and where there's a little bit less mid bass, and that less mid bass cleans up that track specifically, right? So there was less energy in the mid bass, and then there was less bleed into the mid range as well. So the PAO2 played it more of the melodramatic way that I think it had a better replay on this track. There, short. Something like Always You by Depeche Mode. Great spatial effects. Bass is textured, stand out. Love the bass on this IM. Do I like him as much as the OG? No, I do not. The OG was better. But overall, in like this kind of track, the bass was really stand out. Fluid, effortless vocals. Highs were really smooth. In a comparison for the Pula, 379 Canon 2, 190 PAO2. So there's a price difference there too, right? Both 1.4s, but the bass you can hear on this track is definitely not as impactful. Mids sound more laid back, more methodic. I think it also works better for this track as well, because it made the other effects kind of stand out more. That's how I heard it. Time to Say Goodbye by Andrea Bocelli. Lovely stage space, really was. Great microdynamics in his vocals, had a musical excitement that makes it very engaging. And again, almost too much at volumes. In fact, I think it was, because I had to turn it down. PAO2, again, less dynamic, and while great vocals with the PAO2 too, but PAO2 as well. It doesn't have the note weight of the C2, and the female vocals with Anna Marie Martinez are slightly recessed more back into the mix. So while not as dynamic a set, it is a better set to chillax to over the C2. Just a more relaxing set overall. I think their two are very complementary, actually. One more, Goodbye My Lover by James Blunt. I listened to this one. I think it stood out. Again, I found the C2 very balanced. The mids have great tonality. Piano comes out nice. Great playback. And here again, versus the Pula, with the less energy up top, plays a bit more vocal recessed in comparison. So And overall, comparing those two IMs, they're complementary, I think. So the PaO2 just plays less forward in the mids, less resolving, definitely a more relaxed set. Sounds like up top. More sizzle on snares and cymbal strikes. You get, I think, with the CANON, but the air and extension, because of if there's stuff like synthesizer, the PaO2 will pick that up a bit more. So when I was doing a review of the Zensmanger T's, one thing I said was, I think I recommended the CANON 02 or the CANON 2 over the top. Sorry, what the hell did I just say? Zensmanger top. That's a nice IM too, but listening to this set and that set as a comparison, and I think I did the spider graph for that as that comparison as well. I think if you had the whatever 550 it was, and you were looking at the top, I'd consider buying the CANON 2, and I would, as a complimentary set, pick up the Pula PaO2 for a little bit more relaxing set if that's what you felt like picking up that night, or that day, or that bus ride. So overall, to sum up the CANON, is it, for me, I was thinking, is the Yanyin C2 overpriced at $380? And I'm not gonna answer that question. That's a question for you, whether you would willing to buy that. Now, as other IMs are coming onto the market, 1+4s like this one, you're getting some pretty good competition, and it's coming in less and less, right? Every day. And if you can get sets that are close for $200, and this one's $379, right? I mean, one thing that the takeaway for the CANON for me was it as good as the original? I guess if you wanted more energy up top, and I heard that some people were having issues with driver flex and pressure buildup, but honestly, I never experienced that, and I'm really sensitive to that with the originals, but there certainly wasn't any for the CANON 2 for me as well. I like the original. I like the bass, I think, better of the original from what I remember, because it really had to stand out. This one also has that terrific organic bass at the bottom end, but I think it's probably more balanced out in this case, and the high end was nice and sparkly. Actually, I had the original. Why did I just throw that up on the graph here? Yeah, I mean, looking at the original graph, it certainly looks like the OG CANON had more up top. So again, I wish I had them both here. This one sounds more, I think, to me, more balanced, flattened out up top, less peakiness, and good bottom end. So overall, yeah, it's a great set. And when you stop trying to analyze sets, and this is the difficult part about doing reviews, because you have to try and convey what the hard facts of what you heard from it, right? You got to pick it apart a little bit. But then there's the other side of the musicality side of, right, just sitting back and enjoying your music and not analyzing it and just sitting back. And that's where this set really does a good job. And for me, how I really gravitated towards the Pula PaO2, because probably even more than this set, they're not perfect. Neither set is remotely close. But what would you pick up more often? What do you gravitate to? Right? And at the beginning of the video, again, I share what my kind of choices and personal tastes are. So that's kind of giving you an idea of what's my taste and what I gravitate towards, right? I mean, I am a big quality over quantity in the bass. Definitely more mid-bass hit, slam, and more information there to bring out kicks and stuff like that too. I would rather have that than sub-bass focus, boom, boom, for me. And correct tonality and timbre, right? So that's I hope I conveyed to you what I thought of the Canon 2 overall. A beautiful IM, $379, and worth your consideration. I definitely figure. But if you could also find the OG, it'd be also worth and it was less, right? I'd probably still go there. For me over the two. I don't know. I think the original was good. I really liked it, and it had more bass than the graph kind of indicated, so it kind of balanced out that top end. Where I think they did more of this on paper here, and they kind of tuned something a little bit different in the bottom end. Canon 2 is a worthy contender in the 1+4, that's for sure. Thanks so much. This is the Tone Deaf Monk. I'm out for now.